time to get things started for the second semifinal of the Party Poker European Open 5. 3 players have already made it through to our coveted final table, and there's not a Muppet among them. Mark Goodwin, Craig Burgess, and Andy Ward await with their Fozzie Bear fangs peeled to see who among 7 remaining semifinalists will carry their chips forward. Among them, a man in form, a women's champion, and a few making their first ever appearance at this stage of a major tournament. It's not easy being green, but that's all right, because these players feel a flush coming on. Women's World Open champion Homam has shown that she can handle fields of all shapes, sizes, and gender. The German with 7 titles burst upon the TV scene 1 year ago and has quickly shown herself to be one of the most capable in Europe. William Taylor is a qualifier for the Fortune Rooms in Bangor that check-raised his way past a Spanish champion to get to the semis. He enjoys the label of dark horse here, but they could be singing songs in his honor when the music stops. Peter Wood used 9 lives and a whole lot of guts to get here, and now he'll feel like it's a new day dawn. King of the ring in Brighton of late, this used car salesman looks well intended to make his first TV tournament one to remember. Roberto Romanello didn't come easy. After a heart-wrenching heat went the wrong way around, he showed his character in the turbos to claim his place here. This Welsh master of the laydown has added the bluff to his game and could go all the way. Neil Channing is the man with the golden hand. For the last 18 months, he backs up in his van, plays poker like a god, and drives off with a truckload of money. Hard to believe it'll be any different tonight. Christoph has finally got this format licked. The experienced German high-stakes cash game player used well-timed moves and a bit of lady luck to say he's here for the winning post. Paul Marrow saw off one of the toughest European Open heats ever assembled, and he did it in style, knocking out every one of his superstar opponents. The Dice Man looks well prepped to do that again, all on the bluff.
As far as the chip stack goes, I'll be happy just to get through to the final. If you give me 1 chip on a final seat, then I'm going to be very happy.
I will try to make some chips early and have a good leading position, and then start taking chips from the medium stacks that don't want to play. And you can always take their blinds, re-raise them. They are not willing to play really, which is of course reasonable because they don't want to risk their seat in the final.
The difference in getting to the final first in chips and second in chips is not actually that big a thing if it means that you take a ridiculous risk and don't make it to the final. Having said that, everyone's terrified when you get to 4. When I see people looking terrified, I naturally want to just start raising every hand and be really aggressive. So I'll be fighting a bit of an inner battle between raising every hand and being aggressive and making sure I get to the final.
I know Neil Channing. I've got a lot more respect for him than other players have. I think he's a fantastic player. There's a couple of players there that will be trappy, and I should be avoiding them. And Paul Marrow, I think I don't want to get involved in a pot with him unless I've got the goods because the guy's fearless. So I've got my strategy and I'll stick to it.
The last leg on the road to the final table. I'm joined by the best player this format has ever produced, Ian Frazer. On this table, the best, who thinks he's the best this format has ever produced, Neil Channing.
Yeah, Channing. I'm really looking forward to this one, Jesse. There's some great players here, and obviously he's everyone's favourite at the minute. So let's see how he goes about it.
There are 7 players in this, so 7 lots of chips. The yellow's worth 1,000, blues are 2, reds 5K apiece. 100,000 in front of every player, 700K on the table. And Ian, what is the game? Is it get chips early or hold off?
No, you're trying to wind me up here, mate.
The more you see of these heats, Jesse, the more I know that the fact is you have to sit back and only play your premium hands.
Even in the semi-final?
Yeah, for sure.
That was definitely Mark Goodwin's idea on his road to getting to that final table last time out. Christoph with the raise. Quick call from Marrow.
Yeah.
Christoph is a guy, he's played this format about 6-7 times before. He never had any success. And he just, he knocked out Annette Oberstadt. I feel like he's come here with a little more of an aggressive game.
Yeah. I've seen him play 2 or 3 times. I know one thing for sure, he does overvalue an ace. We'll see what Peter's got in mind here with a raise and a couple of calls. With me, this will go straight in the bin. I wouldn't even be contemplating this hand.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we can see it's the best hand means nothing. I mean, you get a raise. You said 2 callers.
Yeah.
A re-raise here is, from his point of view, is insane.
Yeah, it is insane. But he's looking to me, if I was sitting at the table, I'll be thinking he's got like a pair of 9s, pair of 10s myself. You've got to try and put people on certain ranges if they come into the pot.
Cool.
I couldn't put him on ace-jack.
That was the most agonizing decision. I mean, if he's agonizing over this, why not? We might be in for a night.
Well, we all remember the heads-up battle. Yeah. 2 hour long.
And actually,
someone's flopped a set here.
oh
Taylor.
My gosh, you're right.
Check.
And the nut flush draw for Wood.
Yeah. He's checked his set. Nice check.
It was one of the hallmarks of William Taylor's game. I think he check-raised everything that moved, whether he had a hand or didn't in his heat.
Well, he don't want to see a diamond here, otherwise he'd be kicking himself. What a marvellous card for the set of 3s.
Check.
Much easier to check it now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when it comes back around to him, should he raise here?
He must raise, because you can put Peter. Myself, I'll be putting Wood on 2 pair here now, but in case he has got the ace of diamonds, you don't want to let him hit his flush for free, and then you've got to pay him off on the river. So you might as well flip a few chips in there now.
Not just that, but then there's a chance at getting the whole stack, I guess. He's got the full house. I mean, there's a chance to get the whole stack here.
Yeah, of course. I don't think he would against this guy, though. He plays far too tight.
It's a min raise. I mean, we can see Wood's drawing dead, but he can't really just fold here, can he?
No, this guy Taylor, by pushing this bet out, Jesse, he's asking the question, what have you got? And if he just flat calls, then he can put him on an ace of diamonds. He might even put him on ace queen. Yeah, with the ace of diamonds. So he can get off it.
Little does Wood know how much he doesn't want to hit the flush. It'll cost him heavy. That's already 52,000.
Well, he's lucky there, Peter. He's got out of this one.
And this is looking like a great start for William Taylor.
It was quite easy there to put Taylor on a set, Jesse, because he's checked it round with 1 player to act, so he must have a big hand once he calls Peter's bet. And you either got to put him on the flush or a set. So
Northern
tricky
Ireland,
hand.
I mean, they haven't really had much to shout about in this format of tournaments, but maybe William Taylor's going to be the guy who breaks through.
Pass.
That's more like it.
6.
Raise to 6,000.
Channing has not moved a chip yet. We guess we could expect this from him. He's
Cool.
And there are some players who would have just folded that straight away with Christoph's hand.
Pass.
Some people call. I mean,
sometimes, Jesse, if it's costing you like 10, 12% of your stack to call with a pair, I'd bin them myself because you're not going to play any more in the pot. But if it's less than that, it's always worth trying to hit your set.
especially in position. And if it had come to 7 with the ace, you could imagine.
I like listening to you, though.
Carnage that would have gone on.
I can commentate on this now if you want.
Check.
All right, I won't.
That was like Roberto's determined to play things a
Wow,
little
I can't believe
tricky
this
here.
guy's fell for this.
8,000.
I really can't. It's Roberto, you know.
Yeah,
It's Roberto. If he misses the flop, Roberto, and he's a raiser, he's continued betting, 100 mile an hour. Once he checks it, he's hit it.
He's picked his man well, hasn't he? There's one more check. Was it King of Diamonds?
I'd think he had 3 of them now if it was me there.
Call.
And if Haller has to be done with it now.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe
Check.
Haller might be thinking that he's got a pair, but if he thinks that,
Check.
he knows that his 7s are well beat. You know, he's got 2 undercards to the 7, so if his pair's lower than the 7s, he's odds on it in a set.
that check on the river.
I think that's a wary check.
Yeah. Oh, because of the 9, you mean?
Yeah, I think that's a wary check. Otherwise, he would have definitely had a value bet there.
Roberto, maybe he's just come in here expecting, look, I don't want to just sit here and play tight. I want to be lively. And he's lively. We'll see you in a minute as the Party Poker European Open 5 continues.
He knew you couldn't take much more.
Welcome back to the second semi-final of the Party Poker European Open 5. In the box with the razor, Ian Frazer himself.
Pass. Raise to 4,000 total.
Is there any pattern to when Paul Marrow makes it, a min raise, a bigger raise?
No, I don't think so.
Call.
Well, William, he just called. I thought he was having to think about the re-raise.
Well, he must re-raise now. Even if I know we're looking at the cards, but even if Paul had aces here, he must re-raise a minimum under the gun raise and find out where he is. Then if the guy pushes on him, he can throw the 10s away. Because you're not going to min raise with ace king in your mind, are you?
Right. And he is down to. I wonder what he would have done. He's only started the hand with 65,000. He'll have. I guess he's got 50 back, so he's still got enough to play the hand with.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's a terrible flop.
Is that King of Hearts, aren't you?
King's one of the cards you'd be scared about when a guy calls a re-raise.
Yeah. Well, not really. I always think that sort of flop, King 9 deuce, is a great flop for the initial raiser.
12,000.
Glasses off, and
you can see this guy. He definitely goes through the pain barriers when when he has to make a decision. Sometimes he can near enough play with his cards up.
Can't read it. Lunatic, crazy man, love you to death.
It is a big decision. Putting this 12,000 in on the flop for Wood would have been a great way to find out some information here. Now he's checked it, knowing that he could possibly induce
He's
a bluff.
moved all in, Jesse.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah, he's moved all in.
Wow. Well, that's taken some heart. It has, though. He knew he was going to possibly induce a bluff if he checked that flop, right?
37.
How many?
37.
Or are you sitting here thinking if you make that move with the 10s, you only get called if you're destroyed?
I think he's going to call this, Paul. This is what he was doing in our heat,
Well, he's got 6 outs, but only 1 card to catch him.
Yeah, I couldn't do it in this spot. But he was doing this all through the heat, he was calling re-raises and all-ins with quite bad cards, to be fair, and they was holding up.
Yeah,
or he was hitting.
It is the double-edged sword of his game, that's for sure. The people that walk away from this table at the hands of Paul Marrow are going to be scratching their head. But I think he is the first person in poker history to have come on the TV for the very first time and knocked out everybody.
Yeah.
And with style, too.
He's going to pass, isn't he, now? Yeah, he's going to pass.
I mean, he's had a look at the pot, he's had a look at Peter Wood, now he's having a look at his chips, and the situation is that he can fold here and basically still have his starting stack.
Yeah. That was a bit of a brave move from Peter. There, you know, the way the betting went.
I couldn't lay this under. I think you've hit a set of 5.
Pass.
That was just a bit of speech flow there. Making out. He's making out.
Right, but no.
You've hit a set.
Is Peter going to show?
Oh, you're the dice man.
I would never.
That's why I sell cards, mate. I thought you were going to call me there.
I would never. No, I can't lay ace king on this.
You got to love
I
this.
tended to have ace king.
You got to love this.
We was talking to Peter. What he says? There's a couple of nice little knock around for you. You know, if you want. I'll tell you what, I'd buy a car for him. A flash.
Trying to set an example here for the table to go on.
He was betting with 8 high. A gut shot on a.
Listen, I firmly believe I had ace king.
In your mind, you had ace
In
king.
my mind, I had ace king.
What was the turn
Pass.
card anyway? It was like king 9 deuce.
Pass.
Wasn't it? Did it come on the turn?
Pass.
He picked up a gut shot on the turn. That's why he
Yeah,
bet
on the
it.
flop, so.
No, I was a 5, wasn't it? King 9 deuce 5. Paul had 6 8. That was his.
Raise 10,000 total.
4
How much?
plus 6.
10 total.
Awakened an angry giant. That's all we've done. We haven't won anything.
Pass.
You know, when you give Marrow cards like the ace queen, he's gonna punish you.
He's going to re-raise this guy, I'm sure.
Is this a
Raise.
good idea with his
Protection.
chip stack? And he's just,
No,
and he's just.
I wouldn't be getting involved with ace 9
Need to be good.
because you know with Paul, he's likely to call the raise with most cards
Yes.
anyway.
All in.
And yeah, I've
Yes,
seen
all
he's
in.
moved all in straight away. He's not going to have any nonsense.
All right, but as you said, even if Paul Marrow has like 7-8 suited here,
He's going to see a flop,
right, and then you're out of position with the ace 9.
and also even if Paul, even if this guy was in position, Paul's the sort of player he leads out.
Right. Yeah. So
You know,
you're
he
right.
drives you nuts.
And Taylor's problem is he actually kind of still thinks the ace 9 might be ahead, and now he's just chipped over.
That's pretty loose, that from him. You know, he's got 50,000 chips to the good.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that.
Give me too much respect.
He's in a
I
bit of a
fold,
sticky
but
position
ace-
anyway
ace-
because
I think I've given you.
he's got
I think I've
Roberto
given you too much respect. I
and
thought you
Neil
could
on
fold
his
that.
left, who haven't really been playing a lot of
Well, you
hands, so
can't
he
fold
knows
his
that
hand.
they're going to be coming over the top of him. So,
What's that got to do with
so
it?
you
If
want
you're
to be
losing,
keeping
you should be
them
able to
chips.
fold.
All right. I haven't read that book yet.
You read my book.
Does he have book? book?
Yeah, books in white.
Where'd you get him
We
from?
got books with no TV. Books and cheap.
How many times have I raised your blind?
A lot of little
He does take it personally. You have to.
Twice you made it 4,000 twice. You could make it
I
4,000
don't like
there.
your blind, do you? You know I don't.
Oh,
Now it's Channing's
I said no.
I
big
don't know whether I
blind
want you to,
here.
yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
these guys have to be aware that he's.
that's what I was worried about.
This is got to be a good big blind to steal. Actually,
yeah, of course it is.
I mean, I don't care
The
who
approach
he is.
I always take, Jesse,
Yeah.
you know, not so much in these heats, but if you sit down and play,
Cool.
if someone keeps folding their
Just folded.
their
for
blinds
respect.
and even their button, then keep on taking advantage of it
Right.
because they're never going to defend.
Right. And you basically can raise with sort of any two. here.
Anything, yeah.
I mean, Wood limping in here to
I'm
me.
thinking something, but I think Neil is thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. So then,
You don't really
Might
want to be
go wrong.
playing flops with these guys.
I was thinking about something completely outside of poker, so it'd be
we
really
might have
weird
just
if you were
crossed the
thinking
line
the
with the
same
verbal
thing
there
as
as
well.
well, but
Where
I know
you
he's
can
just
get a
having
t-shirt with smaller writing
can't
on
be influencing other players.
But bigger than the one he's got already.
I think we need a jack deuce flop, please, Catherine, if you can do that, if that's possible. Ooh, nowhere near. Check.
Check. 12,000.
Need 10 in there.
You see, now Wood's got himself in trouble here. I mean,
Well, I don't know so much. He might not fancy this, Neil. He might not fancy it.
it's a lot different now than it was before the flop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But what's going through his mind now, right? I knew he didn't fancy it. Look, Oh, I should laugh so much if he goes card dead and his first one out.
I'm going to be a bit upset if I don't make it. No disrespect to anyone I'm playing against today, but there were some absolutely world-class players in this tournament who didn't make it to the semis, and some of the guys and girls who made it through are perhaps not so well known in poker, and they haven't got such great achievements. And I think people might look at today's semi and say Neil's really the favourite to go through here with a big stack in the final. And I think I'm aware of that. And if I don't make it, I'll probably be a bit down on myself. If I can go through to the final with a big stack and win it, I'll be delighted.
Welcome back to the second semi-final. Ian, Frazer, and myself calling things out.
Normal must be good hand, but nothing.
Pass.
And of course, just playing down to 3 here, but already some movement.
He's had his fair share of cards, this fella.
She's been unconscious.
Raise 12,000
Been
total.
unconscious. Sometimes, though, once you get the first thing unplugged, it all starts to go bad. I mean, these players all know now that he made a second raise and then folded for the re-raise.
Oh, I forgot I was in the pot.
Forgot where he
that's why.
was.
Mentally, I'd folded an hour ago.
That was pretty disciplined by
Well,
Christoph.
he's learning.
Call.
And
See,
you'll-
but this is what I say about this guy.
Right.
You know, he doesn't pass these cards.
No.
And that's why you've got to know how to play him.
Well, in the heat, Surinder was making it on Marrow's big blind like 4 and 5 times the big
Well,
blind.
he's not getting off of this.
Do you think the chips are going to go on the flop?
All in.
Yeah.
All in.
boy.
And a call.
I knew he wasn't getting off of that.
Wow, and
He-
I don't know who's got more chips.
He
It's
leads
close.
out, you see, Jesse. He does it quite a lot, Paul.
Yep. And who do you think? I think the Taylor's right now. His heart is going about 1 billion miles an
Yeah,
hour.
of course.
67% ain't gonna feel like much if the club hits.
Ooh, it was
Oh,
close.
certainly was. Dice man needs a club.
But he's out.
Fortune favors the Northern Irishman.
Pretty bad play, to be fair. You know, because if the guy's got any sort of ace, he's going to be calling. You know, it'd been better off checking it.
20,000 less.
So I'd have rather tried to see the turn myself. No club, then you can get away from it on the river.
William Taylor in fantastic shape, and for Paul Marrow, the big gamble, the flush draw. I think he's got 2/3 of his stack in on the small blind.
Oh, I thought you made a set. Oh, I thought that's what you said. I couldn't remember what the third card was. I was guessing.
That's 233,000 is the average stack for the final table.
11.
Taylor,
Raise to 11,000
Is that Channing made a
total.
bet?
I can't believe it. He's going to have to turn these over because Marrow's certainly going to be in.
Pass. All in for 3. Pass.
This is the first time Channing's been in a pot, the first time he's turned over his cards, and he's a 3-1
Those are
favorite.
3.
It's always enough.
Must be nice.
I had 3.
Yeah,
You got a 1,000.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get one.
Yeah. No, I knew.
Good luck, guys.
Very nice move.
Paul Marrow all in.
Thank you.
You did sort of expect this is what it was going to be with Paul Marrow.
Yeah, we did.
Expect something better than
And if he hits that flush in, I mean, he's got 230,000. And
he was still evens getting through.
Well, he was evens getting through and evens to win the whole tournament. I mean, that might have been.
Just 6 there.
If there was ever a guy who was going to be have a chance to get 500,000 for the final table,
he's got a split option here.
And you get the odd chips on the 3.
6.
So he's our first casualty, Jesse, the dice man.
I have the feeling we're going to be seeing him on televised poker table again, and I look forward to it. I mean, his heat was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah.
Everybody but yourself.
Yeah, thanks.
No, I'm very disappointed. You know, I played quite well on my heat. I was quite aggressive in that. And I'm a little disappointed that I went out first in the semi-final. I actually felt that I had the game to get through to the last 3 and get through into the final. So it is a disappointment, but guess what? I'll be back again next year.
Last year, Jesse, I sat down in a 100 buy-in game, and I think I was about 4,000 up, and I made the mistake of getting up and going sitting in the 1,000 game where there was like 6 Englishmen in there, and I done my stack in about half an hour.
And I'll bet the 100 game was about 3 times as tough as well. I mean, I bet
it was all the local Irish guys. It was crazy. It was crazy. You can't bet them off an hand.
That's an amazing win. 4,000 in a 100 game.
Mick McCall said to me, "What are you ever doing coming and changing tables? You've got to be mad."
Second time Homam's raised her button, and
Call.
a quick call from Taylor. I mean, just respect. If he's really going to respect her, wouldn't he rather just pass, or is it just
Call.
under the heading of it wasn't a big bet, it's too big a hand to fold, I got chips? I mean, what are the factors? You don't look crazy about it.
Nah, not at all.
I think Homam's going to actually win this pot. I mean, Peter Wood, he hates his hand.
Yeah, it's awful.
Check is good.
Check.
Let's just check it.
Well,
what a card. I mean, why did Homam check it there? It felt like
10,000.
even if she makes a
10,000.
continuation bet, even if somebody's got an ace out there, they're just calling, right?
yeah, I think it's probably done. You know, we know they're both passing. It's probably done her a bit of good as it happens, because they think that she was obviously going to check raise him on the flop.
Right. Like a delayed continuation.
Yeah.
But she's got 3 aces or something.
Yeah. He's not going to be playing this. This is just a bit of acting.
You deserve to win that pot because you played it better than I did.
Pass.
Pardon me?
You deserve to win that flop. You played it better than I did.
Don't show.
Well, fearsome reputation she has. And it's,
Nice try.
standing her in well stead.
You never got linked to it.
I frightened you, huh?
Don't do it.
Call.
Players like Roberto, Peter Wood, William Taylor, Christoph as well, who, you know, if they make the final, I mean,
Pass.
there's not people who make the finals of the major tournaments all the time anymore. It's a huge spot, $200,000 first
Yeah.
prize.
Showdown.
You know, this is
Listen, these events are absolutely fantastic
Raise
value.
to 18,000 total.
Okay, let's have a look.
You
for a better hand,
know,
yeah.
I was talking about with Bambos last year. What great value it is. He's come and played one. Well, we got a match up here, Jesse.
and
Let's see how he plays this, Peter.
obviously, yeah. If he re-raises, he's going to get on.
Button raise?
He's not the kind of guy who's much going to be slow playing in this spot, is he? I mean,
Now he looks too confident to me, Peter.
Right.
I know this guy's got
Raise.
ace king. If he had ace queen, I'd swear he'd be throwing this away. But ace king's a bit of a different matter. But he just looks far too confident, Peter, for me.
Peter,
The first time he's looked
24,000
cocky at all, isn't it? He actually, you know,
Cool.
Raise all in and a call.
I think, you know,
I
Peter
could have got
Wood,
away
yeah.
from this ace king here.
And then raise.
If Peter Wood came here thinking maybe just one or two things to go right for him to get through. This is the beginning of it. The aces versus the ace king. And Brighton Beach Memoirs. This will be chapter number 1.
Yes, Queen would have been nice.
Oh.
He is all in, but 2%. What it has to come 10 jack, I guess.
No. You're losing your touch, Jesse.
Look at that. This is full of stuff. And yeah, he's gonna.
I don't know what the chip was to
75.
call the all in there, but just through all these tells what he's given out there, Peter, yeah, I could have definitely got away from that ace king.
I
especially
believe
with
you,
my chip stack.
but there's not a lot of people who could. That's for sure.
50,
Maybe you and Goodwin.
75.
A bit of a setback for William Taylor, but when he counts down his chips, he's going to see he's I think still in the chip lead, but ace king on the button versus the aces.
Yeah, it's a setup. I mean, you know, you can't ever get away from that unless you get a massive tell, which he should have picked up on, and then he give himself a chance.
He took the glasses off for that hand, didn't he, Peter?
Yeah,
He took
man.
the glasses off.
I mean, Peter's been sweating over just making up the blinds, hasn't he, for 3 levels. Now all of a sudden he's took his shades off, stared the guy down and asked him if there's a button raise or not. You know he's got monster.
He's been doing so much commentary lately. He definitely talks the talk, but he still goes down there and walks the walk too. He's got so much confidence in his tournament game. It almost makes you sick. You know, like what
The difference is, Jesse, is knowing the way to win. You know, if you know the way to win, we've seen he's been. He hasn't been card dead. He's had some nice
I haven't
cards,
looked yet, but I got a prediction for you.
because he's been strict in his game plan and his strategy. He knows he don't need to mess around early on.
Right.
Raise.
That's a hard gaze to raise under the intensity of. I mean, Christoph's talking to him, staring at him, leaning over at him.
13,000 more.
I gotta look at my hand. I was hoping
Good
I could
thinking.
just
Good thinking. Look at your hand.
so I didn't take the chips.
What do you think, 7-8 suited? Nah.
Nah. No, not me.
Great re-raise.
Yeah, you'd rather do that. I'd wait for another spot if it was me with Channing. You know he's still going to be around.
Cool.
Oh, it's such a big percentage of his stack. I mean, he is in position here.
He's...
And Channing's going to have to bet at this first.
You see something?
Channing hates this right now.
Yeah, of course he does.
I mean, he has no idea what Haller has. Nobody does.
None whatsoever. Well, he's got to put a bet out to this, Neil, and I think it's going to backfire.
And to be honest, this is
21,000.
I think
He's got to move all in, this guy.
This is the thing.
Yeah, he's moved all in.
Well done. I mean,
Channing's thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian, it's well done here by Christoph, but at the same time, like, I mean, there's Channing, such a big part of Channing's range as an ace here, right? I mean, I know he doesn't have anything.
Okay, 55.
Oh, mate, what's he going to be down to after this? I feel sorry for him.
55,000 more.
He's made it more than 3 times the big blind, and Haller stayed with them. Flopped a flush draw. I mean,
It doesn't leave me much.
Oh, mate, 62. This is what I say, you see, you shouldn't really be getting involved in this sort of stuff.
But I think he's definitely underestimated Christoph's tolerance for calling here. You know what I mean?
Pass.
It's a shame, really, because he got himself a nice few chips there early on.
Yeah.
He's a bit on the back foot now, Jesse.
Someone's going to miss out on the final table, and it could be you. See you on the other side. If if you think back, Ian, over the course
If I
of
had
this
another
weekend,
20,000,
I mean,
I might even be close to
Romanello,
favouring
half
myself.
his money has been won either just getting a walk from Peter Wood or just robbing his small blind from the big blind.
Yes, yeah.
Might be second.
Friend now.
You know, these bottom three are in a bit of trouble now.
Roberto's done everything but give Peter Wood his phone
Come and play the
number.
big tournament.
Yes.
1,500 at the
Ali.
next month.
All in.
I'll get 400 play.
Automatic from Homam, you think here?
Yeah, she don't want to have to be passed into a re-raise, so get them in. They're nice enough cards.
It's all in.
I think most aces have to fold here.
Pass.
That'd be a good time to find.
Somebody finds one.
Well, I fancy even if he had ace queen, he'd. But oh, look at this.
And a call.
Wow, and a
Cool.
quick call.
She's in massive trouble.
Yeah, rough idea.
Oh
Look at
my
Neil.
gosh! Huh.
Save my ass today.
He'll be more worried about Peter Wood right
Oh, yeah.
now than
Pretty cool,
Homam.
Yeah.
In fact, if he
pretty
thinking
sure
like
I'm gonna call
you,
this bet.
he might think 10 or
72.
even money to be an
72.
underpair.
Okay.
They probably are even money to be an
fold then.
underpair, aren't they?
Yeah, I'd have called you.
Snap called me then, obviously.
Well,
Is he
he's
done-
passed.
is he-
What do
is
you
he
think?
fast?
He's passing.
Pass.
Best
I love
hand
the
he's
people
seen.
to my right.
Please.
Well, she's in a
Good
pile of
on,
trouble
Gigi.
here.
She certainly
Yeah, but it
is.
doesn't look good, does it?
She wouldn't have minded
Gotta
taking
sweat a
on
lot of
Channing.
cards.
That would have been a race. This one, the king needed for Homam. And I'm actually, it was a pretty quick call by Peter Wood. He's done well, obviously. Done the right thing.
I'd definitely call now if I know that.
But he must have had a different opinion of Homam.
I know.
Wow.
Well, that ain't a bad flop for her.
Oh, she's got outs.
Definitely
Plenty
like
of
the
them.
flop.
She's got the 9 or the ace. The king's no good.
9.
No, it's very
Ace
difficult.
of 9, yeah.
Certainly was planning to call.
It's a king, right? It's right.
Got another call.
Ace of 9, she needs.
Screwed up.
6 outs
No card.
for Homam.
And that's it. She's out.
But then,
Yeah, Neil Channing, just
Five
by
out.
calling there would have tripled up. But
2 tens. Make us sit on the
that was
floor. What am I
sort of
gonna
a
do
cold
then?
neck situation.
I made a mistake there,
I
but
mean, they were going to need some pretty big hands out there to call her, and that's what they got.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you.
if she happens to pass that hand, Peter Woods raises. Channing moves all in and doubles up, don't he?
Right, or if she had even made a small raise, the money, she might have been able to. Couldn't really. She didn't really have the stack to do anything but blue ball in. The blinds are going to hit. I think it's now 7 and 15,000.
Yeah, this is like I say, Neil, Christoph, Roberto. They're in trouble. The three of them, they're going to be putting their chips in, and I think we're going to see what I suggested earlier, Jesse. Christoph's going to be calling one of these two with an all-in.
Well, 7 and 15,000. It's the $200,000 bar. If you can get over this hump, you have a shot to win all that.
Yeah, this is going to be a great level here, Jesse, and I'm going to stick my head out and say that the middle three are going to go through.
Pass.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That is a bold
86,
prediction.
Yeah,
Pass.
that's what he said.
I fancy these
88.
three in the shot now are going to go through.
I'll be able to contribute towards the small blind.
Was that a tight fold, or
If it all
is
goes
Roberto
wrong.
thinking I actually have enough to find a better spot?
But wow, look
Oh
at
my
this.
gosh! And
I haven't looked yet.
Oh, you haven't looked? I'm sorry. I was just experimenting.
on one hand, he
I was
wants
doing a Romanello.
he needs to sell his credibility by pushing, but it's such a big hand.
Yeah, you want to try and get the most out of
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
40 to play.
Raise to 40,000 total.
probably not going to matter.
He might have been okay to hang that out a bit and maybe make the blind up.
Pass.
Unlucky.
The rest end.
And that's exactly what he was. He hasn't seen a hand that big all night, Channing. But it was all the same.
So 71 now, yeah?
It was a gamble, though, because it's going to make his shoves look a little weaker now, or is it? No one knows. No one knows.
Well, it's like you just said, you don't pick up hands like that in this format. And when you get them, you're just worried you're going to lose your customer.
There is this idea. I'm just thinking, I mean, if we go all the way through, you know, it's basically 4 rounds of the table. That's 80,000 in blinds that everybody has to find at some point. So it's not like anybody is dead safe here.
No, you've got to get one in. That's what I fancy Peter's.
98.
Raise all in.
He's a
Wow,
lad,
that's
isn't he?
bold. That is really, really bold.
Well, you said that Christoph will be calling with ace bit. I said he'll be calling with king jack.
All right. Well, 103.
That's more than that.
103.
I think you're right here, Jesse.
I thought ace 6 was his.
Wow, look
Wow,
at
that's some bold. And look at that. Now, Taylor's got twice as many chips, but he can't afford to lose it. And what Channing said, it must have looked stronger because he won the last hand. Still,
my
two
heart
aces he
stopped.
got to pass.
I was all in. Jeez, I didn't even have a change left. I'm a nervous individual. Even with 2 queens.
Kind of
I'm nervous.
ironic as well, because if Channing folds there, Christoph pushes, and then Taylor probably calls. Might even knock Christoph out. I mean, I wonder how big a hand Christoph can pass here with 15 in and only 45 or 46 back.
Pass.
Well, look over there and you're going to think, geez, he's committed with any kind of face cards. Or is he?
Pass.
Well, he will be, Jesse. If he's got 2 face cards, now he's got to move this in, Roberto. And
All
if
in.
Christoph has got 2
Pass.
face cards, he's got a pair, he's got a call.
Good luck, boys.
And this is what I said was going to happen, Jesse. And I fancy Roberto hit one of his cards here. And we'll be 4-handed.
Roberto has marginally more chips than Christoph, about a big blind's worth.
Be a bit like this. I didn't really lose anyone quick enough.
And Christoph with the 8s. They haven't.
There you go. We should go into the prediction game, Jesse.
You definitely should. You've got every vibe in the book. Huge spot for Romanello. If no 8, then Haller is out.
Yeah, been going with 4-handed. And fantastic for Roberto because he would have been the shortest stack, and now he's got himself up to about 150,000.
Yeah.
Jesse, and we've got a good 4-ball now.
I mean, I think, Christoph's played fantastic in this tournament, Ian, in his heat. But in this semifinal, he came in really fast and then slowed up. He might want to have turned that on its head.
Neil's got himself right in the game, with all those moves he was making, and now the onus is on Roberto to get himself back in there.
Average chips 150,000. Blinds hitting 10 and 20. Frankly, there ain't much in it.
Pass. Pass.
All in.
All in.
Roughly.
How much?
120,000.
Give us like nearest 20 grand. Are they in 10? Are they in 10 stacks?
20 there.
There's 80 there.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
That's
Catherine,
in
I got it.
20.
Yeah, so it's 105.
You can't call.
I fold.
Yeah, we know there's no calling. That's a pretty standard play there from Roberto with them
Yes,
cards.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
What's it supposed to mean? We haven't gone before. You've done it 12 times. Do it once, you're going to go with me.
I wasn't having a go, so it's very good.
I didn't like the attitude you said.
Very, very nice hand. You
Very
probably
nice.
had a really good hand, I'd imagine.
Huh?
Most likely. Very good.
Just because you get it every time doesn't mean I got it every
I
time.
had some good hands.
Nice one, Roberto.
A cool one too.
Just when you're playing, when the pressure is this big, even if you pick up something, like the ace jack, something that's big enough to call someone with, it plays at the back of your mind, oh, I'm going to call. He's
I'm
either
all-
going
is
to
on
have
me?
a big
All
hand,
out.
or he's going to have
I'm all out.
nothing and suck out on
146,000.
me. And, I don't know. You hate getting your chips in second, even with something good.
You see, he's not.
Please give me a hand.
He-
Please give me a hand.
He's not missed one button.
Not quite as
has
good
he,
as this
Neil?
one.
No.
Nearly as good.
Oh, dear, dear.
Yeah, but when he counts these
What's your
down,
kicker?
I think it's going to be too many
He-
of his chips.
He's not calling. but-
It's a total of 146. 126 more.
I would bet anything he's not calling.
Would Neil?
Would Neil call?
No, would Neil bet anything he's not calling? I mean, how sure is Neil right now?
I've got a bad feeling about this one. This is
like a
actually
bit
my
of
unlucky
insurance.
hand. I'm always getting knocked out of tournaments.
Spark at it.
It's possible.
See, now he's trying to make him think he's got a decent hand.
Right. He said, I always get knocked out of tournaments with this.
I think it might be you.
What do you think the odds are he's never actually got knocked out of a tournament with that hand?
About 100%.
No, too comfortable.
Well, that's nearly a YouTube video in itself.
It's good watching Channing. I like watching him when he's on his back foot. He looked right under the gun earlier, didn't he? And you could see he nearly broke out in a sweat, and I was loving every minute of it. And now when he puts the pressure on the others, he's gone second in chips now, Jesse, and I'm loving watching it now as well.
And it paired on the turn, so you'd have got the lot then. Yeah. What about when you was re-raising Christoph for fun?
When you look at how this
Pretty much
game
every
has
time,
gone,
Ace king,
basically
ace queen,
everybody on
and,
Channing's
yeah.
left has ended up getting dried out of the game. You know, Christoph.
Oh, Roberto, this is interesting. Okay, are you going to have to bring in the 20s and tell me the
Press your chips forward.
the story, Catherine? Don't bother with all the blues. I can work that out. They're in tens, yeah. So that's like 66.
65.
150. It's 130,000.
How marginal is this? What are the factors to think about?
Are they in tens?
First,
Yeah.
myself,
so
if
we
I'm
got
Neil, I
like-
wouldn't be
That's
calling this.
125.
He's so successful with what he's been doing.
Okay, so that's
He's been nicking all their blinds with
90.
not even a dwell up from any of the other guys. So he can afford to let this go.
I've got 200. What do you say it is?
He could be a 4-to-1 shot here and not
130
know it.
something.
Right.
He's actually in a fantastic spot.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is probably a fold. I've got a pair.
I mean, some of the stuff I think he's thinking about is,
You can deduce it's not.
I win
nines
this
or
pot.
over.
I'm chip leader at the final table, which is something that is definitely in his game plan.
Nah, I fold. I fold.
Yeah, but like I say, it's
It's such a rock.
different if he was struggling.
And
Jesse, but he's not. He's getting so much success in pinching the blinds.
Right.
So why have a spin up and you might be a 4-to-1 shot?
Right.
They never have ace 3 when I call in that spot. Or if they do, it always comes an ace. I think I have to fold.
I didn't have ace 3.
Well,
Is it Roberto's button now? If Roberto has these blinds, then Peter is in a bit of trouble.
I think blind on blind. I wouldn't blame you for going all in with these hands.
Oh,
Is allowed.
Tell you what, he just pulled these down from the sky.
115.
oh.
Press.
He's made 150 raise with 120,000, has he?
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Oh, yeah, what did I say, Jesse? How we're going to wind up here?
Wow.
The ace king's
Wow.
gonna. The ace king's
Yeah.
gonna hit.
I'll tell you what, Taylor doesn't
No,
even know
you
how
don't
good
put
shape
out.
he's in. What I mean by that is that he's actually had to call for 20,000 less.
Luck, boys.
If he loses this, he'll still have
Pretty
100.
50-50.
It is Wood who needs to hit, or we're at the final table. You feel it? What do you feel?
Yeah, he's gonna hit.
I think this is one of those races. that's
Straight
like
on the bumps.
51-49.
The door card or the window?
Window.
42.
Look at this. Look.
Flush draw.
Would you like that if you were sitting there with ace king of
I think
spades?
so. Any
Yeah?
spade, any ace, any king. For Peter Wood.
Wow.
Oh.
Any spade?
No, nothing.
It's over.
Full house.
Oh, full house. Blotties, that's it. He's gone.
Well,
How lucky
card that was.
You played great.
God.
best luck.
Oh, what a way to go.
You can go and give it the whoop.
Tell you what, this guy, Peter Wood, has given his all in this
Yeah,
tournament.
he has. Well, that was brutal.
You have to imagine that Peter would have moved with an A7, anything.
Yeah,
A lot of hands where the nines were in a dominating position. Turned out to be a race. Taylor had 100,000 back, and even like Wood's hand on the flop, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. What a card that was on the turn, the 9. I mean,
Bang.
that was just bang the last now.
Very happy the way I played. Very disappointed just to bubble the final table. Yeah, again, it was another marathon. 120 on hands, and I'm happy with my performance. But yeah, it's definitely disappointing.
I'm exhausted actually. I feel like that was really hard work. I mean, I'm happy to be there. I think it's a good final. It doesn't look like the easiest final ever.
I got an early double up, which meant I could just sit back and relax and hope people get knocked out, but the way it turned out, nobody was getting knocked out. It was a grueling match, and lucky enough at the end, nines held up against the ace-king suited and put me through to the final, chip leader.
Every time I know I can do it, and never doubt that at all, and I know I can go all the way. But you know, doing it is another thing. And I've played outstanding this tournament personally, and so now it'd be nice to go and finish it off. Obviously that's a long shot, you know, there's a big stacks out there, but hey, when you're in it, you got every chance.
Judgment Day will come, and the Terminator's not here unless his name is Neil Channing. The final table kicks off next time. Goodwin, Romanello, Burgess, Ward, and Taylor. It'll be shake 'em up, spit 'em out, and see who's got the heart of a champion when the Party Poker European Open 5 kicks into its final table.